Boundless Warriors, welcome back to the channel. What's going on out there? How's everybody doing? Well, got some quick updates for you on what's going on. Let's see, it's August 12th right now. So easy for me to keep the count of my days, although you know how I feel about keeping count of your days. For me, it's been 12 days going strong, getting ready for some competitions. So, you know, I've started camp for the Masters Worlds. I have that coming up and Labor Day weekend, right? So that's going to be a Saturday, getting ready for that. I'm going to fly in actually it's on a Friday for me. I'm flying in on Thursday, competing on a Friday. I'm going to get out of there. I'm not a big fan of Vegas, but that's where the tournament is, unfortunately, every single year. So that's where I end up. But yeah, it's getting ready for that tournament. It's going to be great. And as you know, I am on a long streak this time. And that's because you know how I feel about fighting, and that's you want every single opportunity, every single advantage you possibly can get. And I know that saving my energy up, getting ready for that's going to help me a lot. So that's not a whole lot to report other than I just feel like amazing amounts of energy. You know, of course, that is always something they say is one of the benefits that you get from holding your seed, and definitely getting boundless energy. I'm getting like 2, maybe 3 workouts a day. It's probably not great to do that, but unfortunately, you know, it's how I've kind of worked out my schedule. It's kind of a busy week for me. I'm in the middle of doing a lot of testing at the martial arts school. A lot of people getting promoted in Jiu-Jitsu and in Muay Thai. And so I'm there and working in the evening time. And so I got to get my workouts in, and I still got a lot of friends that I get together with and train with. So I don't want to cancel on them. So I continue to train, but 2 or 3 times a week. So I got my 2 or 3 times a day, got my skills training, and I got my strength conditioning every day. And then sometimes I get some extra training in with the students. So we are working, we're about like 4 weeks out now for this Masters Worlds tournament. And I got some great news for Kudo. As you know, I've been trying to get another Kudo fight, and I got it lined up in South America. I've been talking about this going to Brazil, but finally they have confirmed that they're going to have a businessman class as well, an over 45 division. And as you know, one of the reasons why I'm doing these videos here is I am on the quest to become the first Triple Crown world champion. That is a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Kudo, and Judo in the over 45 division. And I'm documenting my progress and my journey so we can chase greatness together. That's going to be, it's a quick turnaround. It's September 20th. That's the fight down in Belo Horizonte in Brazil. I've never been there. I've been to Rio, been to Sao Paulo, but I've never been to Belo Horizonte. I'm very excited about that. So I'll probably go in a week in advance and get there and get ready to train. Getting trained up, and then getting there to get ready, acclimated to, of course, the travel. It's a 17-hour plane ride. It does crush the body. So planning to get there, give me a couple of days to get ready, acclimated. And I'm getting there with the USA team. We have a USA Kudo team that's been invited to South America to compete in the South American Championships. Normally this would be exclusive to South American countries, but they want to open it up to North America. So we're going to get down there. We are going to fight. It's going to be amazing. Got a couple questions here. Let's see. How do you manage lifting and martial arts coach? I have a late evening BJJ class. Yeah, usually they're late, 7 to 8:15. That's a good class. But I also want to get up at 4 to lift. Yeah. Well, you know, strength conditioning is a very important part of martial arts training. I know in the jiu-jitsu community, we've kind of gotten away from it too. Not everybody's on that tip. And I think, you know, the GOAT, Marcelo Garcia, would say that all you got to do to be good at jiu-jitsu is just do jiu-jitsu. But of course, you know, size, strength, that does matter. Athleticism does matter. And so you want to make sure that you get every single advantage you possibly can. But also, you know, as we're aging athletes, I'm 46 years old. I find that lifting is my armor, right? It's like it protects my joints and makes sure that I stay strong. But of course, you have to really balance out the strength conditioning and the martial arts training. I'm in camp right now. It's very easy to overtrain. I have a habit of overtraining, but I know that after testing my hormones, that overtraining is a great way to tank your testosterone and really destroy your performance, right? It has diminishing returns. So really you have to make sure that you get the right focus. For me, I kind of go with the Firas Zahabi approach, which is, he says, like 80% of your training is really focused on skills acquisition, and 20% is about strength and conditioning, right? Because over time, if you do too much strength and conditioning, that has diminishing returns, you know, and of course, you're not developing your skill. So there is that time you have to kind of put into it. So for those of you that are trying to get extra conditioning in, So for me, for instance, I only lift maybe 2 to 3 days a week, depending upon my schedule and what my trainer has me doing. And the lifts are pretty much complementary to what I'm doing that day, so they don't like drain me, right? Like if you do a heavy lift, you just feel like you don't want to do anything afterward. Your body feels a little puffy, So my lifts are such that I have to train every day, and so therefore they kind of help me along with that, and really make me more like supercharged, turbocharged. Feel like I get more energy from the lift than I do feel depleted, because sometimes it's easy to get really depleted when you do like a heavy lift, right? So whenever you can get it in, it's great. In the morning time is probably I would prefer the best time. It's not always good for me because I have a wife and kid. I have to wake up and make breakfast and get them all ready for everything. So, and also get ready for my day. So that makes it a little harder for me to always get training done in the morning. But when I do, I feel fantastic. Like getting up early, right? If you get up at 5 a.m., no one's up, and get that good lift in. For me, my body is a little slow to kind of get up in the morning, probably because I train just like you guys do jiu-jitsu. It's usually evening time. I teach from 8 to 9:30. Last night I didn't get home until 10 from training. So and teaching. So that does make it pretty hard to really get up at 5 and go at it right away. I do get up early in the morning and I love getting at it. Mostly like getting my thoughts organized, get creative time, getting in work. But as you know, as an aging athlete, when you get up right in the morning, it's hard to go right into the weights. For me, I know maybe I'm a little bougie, but I like taking a nice warm shower. I got a little jacuzzi here. I get in there, and that way it loosens up my body and gets me ready for the day. Today I had to get up and I had to stretch because my back was a little bit tight, from yesterday. We were doing burpees. I probably did like over, I don't know, 150 burpees because the class just wasn't, they were just going way too hard in sparring. So we had to really take the energy out. So, not as a punishment, but as a threat. And also part of the testing, we had to make sure it was hard. So I did more burpees than probably I've done in a long time. And that's kind of like wrecked my back a little bit. So I had to get up and stretch. I feel much better now after doing that. But, morning time is a great time to get at it. And whatever you're trying to do, whether it's mobility, yoga, or lifting, like it's always a good time. But don't overdo it. My lifts are also broken in with cardio. So I generally alternate lifting, cardio. And I get some cardio, of course, when I'm doing skills training. But, really, I'm more focused on developing skill than I am trying to get a heavy, hard workout all the time. As a 46-year-old, sometimes it's always good to get a good workout. You don't necessarily need like the great workout, right? And the great workout for me is just not getting injured, especially when I'm working with a lot of young 20-year-old full of testosterone young kids who are really ready to go at it and do some, spazzy ballistic moves. So you really have to do is protect yourself. But anytime you can get it in your schedule, you definitely want to make sure, you work it in and try to be consistent with it as possible, because it is a really important part of your martial arts training. Yeah. So no cardio off the mats. Okay. So there you go. Yes. Yeah. I do cardio. And so a lot of it is, I do a lot of running, and I'm just used to running. I would say that a lot of people, they try to alternate, like, if I could, and I probably should, just get like Aerodyne in my house, like a salt bike. It's going, because it does save the joints a little bit. And there is that, like, mimicking how the fight is, which is up, down in terms of like intervals of energy use. And I think it's great. I don't like being seated for too long, and I just like getting outside, and running helps me to, I get a lot of good ideas, a lot of thoughts, and it's like my creative time, So it's not that I have to tune out and I have to like endure the run itself. And sometimes the runs are hard, but it's a good time for me to just think. And I'm not connected to any electronics or anything like that. Or maybe I have a watch on me that just tells me the time and how far I'm running. Well, it doesn't matter how far I'm running, how long I'm running, but usually that's what it's like my own time, So I do enjoy running. That's a lie. I don't enjoy it, but I see the value in it in a lot of different ways. So that's usually where my cardio is confined to. But I also do some interval training with other types of equipment. And if I can get to an assault bike, I don't have one at my house. Like, as I said, if I go to my wife's gym, I try to use the assault bike whenever I can. That's also a nice little added bonus to it. Okay. But definitely you want to be a well-rounded martial artist. If that's what you're into. And of course, I'm a biased person. I think that martial arts is the best tool for personal development, the best way to develop yourself mentally, physically, spiritually. And so therefore I have to connect as many people with martial arts as possible. I'm really happy that some of you all here that are joining me on the feed are martial artists and you practice yourself. but you got to get more people into it, right? We were even evangelicals for martial arts training, not so much for the semen retention. I think that scares a lot of people, but I think I've stumbled upon this because I want to be the best martial artist that I possibly can be. And of course, as I'm taking these fights, and it's funny because we've always, in the jiu-jitsu world, we're always arguing like whether it's a fight or not. The Brazilians always say it's a fight. I think it's a fight no matter what, like, especially because, like, it's an internal fight as well. Sometimes you want to give up, and sometimes you feel like you're not, you're losing, and you really got to dig deep and fight those bad thoughts. But just overall, like, now I am really fighting in Kudo, right? Japanese MMA. It's just we're wearing a gi. We're basically doing like bare knuckle fighting. I have to make sure I get every single advantage I possibly can. And for me, that's going to be eating right, sleeping enough, making sure I work on getting enough recovery, and then, of course, like nutrition. And so therefore, the semen retention is a big part of it, because I want to make sure that I have every single advantage I possibly can. So yeah, 12 days in on that, feeling great. And of course, I got one lift today. I probably won't train that hard because we're promoting some people in jiu-jitsu, but I'll be over there and doing my thing. So thank you all for the questions. Thank you all for joining me, by the way. And of course, let me know, leave me, if you wouldn't mind, a like if you like the video, share the video if you like. I know it's kind of weird topic, but the more that we can share this with more men, I think it's really important. Okay. And I got to be totally honest with you. It gets difficult sometimes. I find that my thoughts wander, often, and maybe they're impure sometimes. And, but I'm just a man, and there's so much out there that can definitely affect what we think and where we go with our thoughts. One being specifically social media. As you know, like, I'm on social media a lot. I hate the idea of social media. I think it's a cancer in the world, but that I have to do it just to kind of connect with as many people as possible. I try to limit my time on it, but I do find that sometimes I'm on there scrolling for no reason. And sometimes at night, like, as I told you, it's not a good place to be, because for some reason they want to show me explicit things, right? Like, and of course it can only be as explicit as what Instagram will allow, but there's a lot of thirst traps on there. A lot of people trying to get you to go to their channel, their OnlyFans, this and that. And I'm like, why am I being shown all these things? Like, I don't think, probably just because I'm a man of a certain age, right? Like, they know what will keep you on the app. So one thing that I've ended up doing is, of course, I could just stop scrolling on social media, and I highly recommend that. And I try to do it as much as I can, but I find myself doing it at night. You know what I've been doing? I've been going to these new influencers. They're crazy. They're like dudes who go and they find reels of like healthy food, things that are being made, and they like for instance, a cheesecake made of banana, eggs, and Greek yogurt. So they're like healthy combinations like this. Oh, and a little bit of vanilla, right? And they're like super over the top. They're like cursing and thing, like, you got to do this, like, don't F it up, blah blah blah. They kind of make it so that their whole shtick is that they want you to know whether it's worth your time to make it. They're going to do it for you on your behalf, and whether it's good or not. And most of them are like fitness influencers. So I've been saving and liking so many of these things that my feed is just full of these healthy recipes. Now I'm getting like chicken nugget recipes, pizza recipes that are all like super healthy, high protein, low fat. And I've made a couple of them, and they're delicious. I mean, they're awesome. And now I'm hooked. So my social media is full of Kung Fu cats, martial arts stuff, and healthy, over the top, overly cursing food Instagram people. And it's amazing. Exactly. I'm at 18 days of pure streak, and last night it started suggesting me explicit content. Of course. It's like a test, It's like here to tempt you. It's kind of crazy. So I always think about this. Like, if someone were to take my phone, would I be proud of the things that they are encountering and they're seeing? So I don't watch any adult content anymore. It's taken me 8 years to really since I made that decision to get off of it. And it's important because, I got a 6-year-old daughter in the house, and my wife's in the house. And before, it's like we're living like a weird secret life, when you're on your computer, you're trying to delete everything, and you're clearing your history, and you're making sure that no one's on the computer, no one gets to it. And your phone now is like everywhere with you. Of course, it's now even more so personal that people just don't get on your phone, right? But some people might. So all the time, like, I'm comfortable with it, which I feel is almost like liberating. You're not like scared of anything on there. And I would also say that, like, if someone were to take my phone and look at my social media feed, what would they see? What would they see? They probably think I'm crazy. As I said before, my wife's feed is full of like rage bait political videos that always, make her very opinionated in a certain direction, I think we're kind of opposite in terms of that spectrum. Of course, I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I think all that is just to get us to fight each other, But I do live my life in a tinfoil hat. I love conspiracy theories. If they're real or not doesn't matter. I love talking about them. I always think they're interesting. Um, but what you would find on my social media feed is vastly different, But I still get the occasional like thirst trap on there for some reason. I still don't know why. Whenever it says like, "Are you interested in this?" I'll try to say no. I don't want these things to pop up. But I'm proud now because like yesterday I was scrolling 10 minutes before I was sleeping, which is probably not a great time to scroll, but 99% bro food recipes. I love it. I love it. And I can't wait to try them all. My one today that I'm going to do, because my wife is on travel in Brazil, is I'm going to make a apple crumble. It's a 2-minute apple crumble. Listen, I love cooking and I'll spend time doing it. I cook every day, and I think that's a really important part of nutrition is to really make sure that you're in control of your intake, because if you go out there and you start buying food, it's very easy, A, to spend money, B, to like consume things you don't necessarily know what you're eating. Everything's loaded with salt and oils and fats because that's what the body loves. That's what people will pay money for. And so therefore, if you take the time to really coo- cook your own meals, you're going to be healthier. Okay. And so I really think that there's a lot of value in that. And now I just can't eat too many times out without craving my own cooking, And so therefore I think that's an important thing in terms of being able to change your body composition, make sure you get the right amount of energy, making sure that you're getting the gains you want in all different areas. So nutrition wise, and I can't wait to do this apple crumble. It's like diced apple. It's got cinnamon on it. It's got some type of compote that you make out of Greek yogurt and berries. And I think there's like some kind of oats that you kind of like put on top. And it's all through the microwave, which is kind of crazy. I could be wrong with the recipe. I don't know. I'm sorry I haven't made it yet. But, these are things that I think about now, which is kind of crazy. And also, I am losing weight for this tournament, right? So I'm like 182 and a half in the morning and I have to be 177 pounds. So probably like 5 pounds I'm going to lose. That's pretty easy to do. I got it dialed in now. I just did it 2 weeks ago, and a lot of it is just like making sure I cut out desserts, which I love. I have like a terrible sweet tooth, but I'm always trying to find ways to satiate that sweet tooth without really consuming large amounts of sugar because I know that eating sugar makes me feel terrible. Like I used to eat a lot of sugar on Sundays and Saturdays. Like my weekend was just full of like sugar binging, and by the time I got up on Monday, ready to face the day, I just didn't feel like I really wanted to face the day. And this is even when this is even like long streets of retaining. It's like, how should I feel like this? Why do I feel like, man, it's not dread because I remember what it was like when I was just totally depleting myself all the time, eating terribly, not sleeping right, doing lots of things I wasn't supposed to be doing, staying up late, eating, um, highly processed foods, smoking marijuana every day, all day. I had all these terrible habits, but Monday was always terrible. Like I felt just dread, literally dread. Like why I don't really want to get out of bed. I don't want to face the day. And that's weird because life's beautiful, man. Like I'm so grateful to have to, to have this time. Like why would I feel like that? And for a time, I was seeing a shrink, which is kind of crazy. This is years ago. This is probably about 10 years ago. Um, why? And those people are just taking your money. Like if their whole job is to continue to talk to you, if they were to help you solve your problem, they wouldn't have any money. So it's almost like that profit motive. It just it doesn't make any sense for you to see these types of people. But anyway, I was feeling like that a lot, and I know a lot of it came from sugar as I was getting rid of a lot of my vices. Sugar is probably one of the last ones, but sugar definitely makes me feel tired, makes me feel moody. But I still love sugar, and so therefore I'm kind of like talking all around in a circle. That's just how I do. I'm sorry, guys, but that's what really has driven me now to like find more healthy, delicious recipes that are um, that I can eat that's really going to satiate that hunger, right? And so the more that I can do that, the better. And if I can make some that are tasty that I can share with people, like it's even better, right? It's even better. So, yeah. You're speaking the truth, sir. I've been 30 days off caffeine and feeling much more calm. Hey, congratulations to you. That's probably one of the most difficult vices to give up, caffeine. For me, let me see here. I gave it up in March of 2025. So we're almost a year and a half. No caffeine. I feel great. Let me tell you this too. I stayed away from decaf for a really long time, only because I'm paranoid that I'm not going to get decaf. And of course, now I make most of my own coffee, right? But if I go out and I want to have a coffee, I'm always like, is this decaf? Are you sure it's decaf? It's hard to tell these days sometimes. I know when you're off it for a long time, it's hard to tell. But I do love the ritual of getting up in the morning, making something warm and it like warming your body. So I try to do a lot of different things. One thing, rooibos tea was great, and I still drink it a lot. But being a coffee drinker of like almost 30 years, it's tough to get away from that. And I would recommend, though, if you are going to drink a decaf, go with the Swiss water processed decaf. It's 99.9% caffeine free, because I know a lot of people who drink decaf say, oh, there's still caffeine in decaf. So this is practically caffeine free. I'm not advocating for anybody who's just getting off caffeine, just enjoy that clean life first. And of course, it is expensive coffee because, one, I'll get it sourced organically. Two, it's through this very niche process to remove most of the caffeine. But also, if you don't know, one of the things that helped me get off caffeine is to understand that coffee beans are one of the most pesticide-ridden foods you'll ever consume. And we're all consuming it every day. And so just something to be really aware of. And that's why when you're sourcing even decaffeinated coffee, you have to make sure it comes from a good spot and that it's not poisoning you. So it's something to think about as you're going along. It does put a little hole in your budget. But of course, if you're making your own coffee, you're definitely ahead anyway, because going out there to buy coffee is super expensive. And I never enjoy that process, spending money to get that cup of Joe in the morning, waiting in line and just being miserable. Of course, that was me. But yeah, so I need somewhere. Caffeine is also a pesticide. How can it be safe for human? Yeah, yeah, exactly. I went to a botanical garden, and one of the things was talking about our relationship with caffeine and how it is actually a pesticide secreted by plants. And we've gone ahead and taken it and been like, man, this is great. Like, it does so many different things for us. But like, oh, why? Of course, if it tends to make you more alert and make mundane things more interesting and perhaps make you more productive at work, like productive being like you actually show up to work and do the things you don't want to do, which is kind of what the machine of this world of capitalism kind of is designed to do, is extract productivity from us when we could probably do a lot more and be happier doing other things. But of course, I'm digressing at this point. But if caffeine will do that, then of course they're going to be pushing it and giving it to us. And it's everywhere now. Kind of Monster energy drinks, caffeine is everywhere. Pre-workout, it's like in every single weight loss thing. You have to be really careful with that. I was at one point, I was drinking caffeine 20 years ago, and I was like, man, I should start taking a multivitamin and taking these GNC men's sport multivitamins. And I was just feeling like jittery and shaky afterward. When I found out that one of the main ingredients in this supplement package that I was taking was 200 milligrams of caffeine. So I was basically getting, 3 cups of coffee shot into my, in the morning, because I was drinking coffee and then taking these pills. And then I just wasn't feeling good, feeling nauseous, getting a headache, feeling really shaky and jittery. That stuff's going to be pretty bad for you. So, look, no, I drink caffeine for a long time. It's very hard to put down. My wife still loves it. My family still drinks it. It's a socially acceptable drug, and I understand people don't want to give it up sometimes, but I would say that it's been a big win for me to be able to get rid of it. And as I said before in previous videos, that this is my second long second long, what would you say, streak of being away from caffeine. I only discovered that because I went to the subreddits of semen retention, and they were like, yeah, well, one of the things that really do help get rid of urges and really make you more even keel and really focus your energy is to get off of caffeine. And I was like, okay, well, let me give it a try. And then after I did, I was like, man, this feels really good. It feels a much better version of me. So I like it much better, and I wanted to keep it up, and I feel great with it. And I gave up caffeine in probably the worst time, when I had to be at a conference and they give you free caffeine, free coffee, and it's free flowing because they want you to be highly attentive and paying attention, right? And so I think it's been a net positive for me. And so for those of you that are considering doing it, I would highly recommend it. I know some people say that it does take a long time for you to feel like your normal self. It just depends on how long you've been abusing the thing. Maybe abuse is a strong word. I've been abusing it, right? How long you've been using caffeine. And I would say that's also for, pornography. Like in terms of my whole schedule now with how I'm planning to retain for events, right? Getting ready for them. And I think that 4 to 6 weeks is probably the sweet spot. Who knows? I'm about to discover that. And hopefully I'll share that with you. But I'm able to do that because I'm not consuming explicit materials. It's not something that I do. It's not like I'm off the streak and then I'm like in there consuming this. No, I think that pornography is a cancer in our world. Like it's destroying us. It's destroying men. And something as I was growing up, it was almost like it was much harder to get than it is now. But it was something that was almost celebrated that you were consuming. Even in the culture that I was in about like what movies I was watching, the people that I'm around, and now it's like almost celebrated, right? It's like gooning. You gotta goon. You gotta do this thing, and that's kind of crazy. That is what we are. That's what we've turned into, and I don't think anybody would be proud of that. And I think that if you were to examine the human race with like from an archaeological standpoint, hundreds of years, thousands of years later, you might find that that's like a weird thing. It's a weird quirk about the humans, about the men, and what did it make them? What did it drive them to do, and how did they end up? Okay, back to the caffeine. Exactly. During my caffeine phase, I would get tingling sensations. Yeah, which made retention harder. Yep. I would agree. I would agree with that. Thing about semen retention is that you'll never meet someone in real life who practices it. I've only found people online who do this. Interesting. Yeah. But I have met some people only because I'm more open. I guess I'm openly sharing this with more people. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm saying like this is what we all have to do and aspire to. I understand it's a difficult thing, but I'm willing to do these difficult things for the benefits that I get, and I know that they're real. They're not like placebo because I've experienced them, and so therefore, it only galvanizes my commitment to that practice. I'm not a brahmacharya yet, right? For like long-term commitment to being celibate. I'm not at that point yet, but I can see the appeal. If you're actually having a life mission, this is all you're really driving to do, and you don't need distractions or anything else. I wish I was that strong at this point. I'm not yet. Maybe soon. Maybe one day. But I have met more people that have practiced it. It's almost like we're high-fiving each other. We're like, hey, man, these guys don't know. These guys don't know. Exactly. So that's really what I'm trying to do is share that. And it's not something we need to one up on each other, keep to ourselves. If people have questions about it, they can ask me. But of course, we're all seen as like outcasts and crazy people right now. So and in a world that we're in, where gooning is almost like celebrated, how many can you do? How many can you crank out? I can understand why that's that way. But hey, I've been an underdog and an outcast all of my life. It doesn't bother me at all. Uh, it used to bother me a lot coming up. I was really trying to fit in my whole life. And I've just found that like that desire to try to fit in, that's not really, I mean, you have to a certain degree, right? Because if you're like an outcast of your tribe, then you basically sentenced to death in the sense that no one's there you have no community, even in your mind, like mentally and spiritually, you have no one there. And so you don't want to be in a situation like that, but to fit into like the mainstream of what it is in Western culture, I don't need to do that. I don't feel the need for all of us, for me to do that anyway. And, maybe goes with like how I look now. I used to gel my hair and look a certain way and really be worried about, my physical appearance. And I don't think those things are as important anymore. For me, all those things will be a side effect of what I do in my life and how I treat myself and, what I do. So hopefully that comes out on its own. Oh, got a lot of comments here. Let me check this out. And the thing about is, wholeheartedly believe in retention and felt the benefits. I've met with the resistance when I shared. Therefore, it's a lonely journey for me. Yeah. So hopefully, opportunities like this for us to get together I really appreciate y'all coming in and sharing and being involved, because like that only helps other people out, that might want to try this journey themselves. And I think more and more we're going to need this for people because of where society is going. And, kids are exposed to explosive materials now at a very early age, very young age. And I'm afraid for them. I didn't stumble. Well, I did stumble upon, your dad or your uncle's like magazines or something like that. But I think it's a lot different right now with the amount of explicit and the level of content that you can get easily on the internet right now. It's astonishing. And so um, I don't want to shield, every my daughter from that, but I have to really be defensive about what they consume and what they're exposed to, especially because I've seen what it's done to my own life, and so therefore I don't think it's a good thing. Um, the benefits, real or overhyped. A lot of people that speak about the subject don't seem genuine, like to do it because they want views. Yeah, my social media is not based around that, so I don't care really what it is that anything I get from it. Really, I'm just trying to share my experience with the world, and I would say that as much as I can tell you that these things are real, it's not a placebo. The only way you can discover it is for yourself. And that's what I tell people, all the time. They always try to say, hey, there's these studies that say this and that, and you're doing the wrong thing, and it's better for me to do this. And really, like, those studies are, well, I live in a tinfoil hat. I always feel like there's a motive for everything, and money is always a motivating force. And it's hard to really be partial when it comes to even science, because it's like money affects the science. I would say that you have to learn from personal experience and do it for yourself. And that's the only way you're really going to know. I'm just a guy on the internet. Like, what do I know? What am I telling you? I can only tell you what I've experienced, and they're not going to be your experiences until they actually are. So you have to kind of do it for yourself. Right. And I would also say that you have to give it time, because depending upon where everybody's different and where they are in their lives. And if you've been consuming explicit materials up until like today, like, it's going to take you some time to reset. There's just the way it is. Just like if I was consuming, um, you know, 4 cups of coffee every day and I decided to give up caffeine, my experience of giving it up in terms of withdrawal, and also the benefits of, and the timing of when I feel the benefits of being caffeine free, are going to be different for me than when somebody who's only been, drinking like half a cup of coffee every other day. And you have to give your body time to, well, for lack of a better word, detoxify from those poisons, and then kind of, begin to see where you are. But at the same time, if the mind is a powerful thing, and if you're only focused on the negatives of going through the process of giving up something, it's going to be very difficult to do that, as opposed to focusing on the why and the positives of why you are actually taking this upon yourself. But just understand this, like, the suffering, like, it changes you, and it brings you to some other, it helps you understand why you're really doing something, right? And it also makes it worth it to a certain degree. You have to suffer sometimes for the things that you really want. Not to say like pain suffering, or like, mental suffering, or like, oh, this, no, but like, it has to require discipline, and discipline can bring you so many different things. And so therefore you're just exercising that discipline right now. I don't know who made this Instagram like reel that I saw, but it was like in the voice of Khabib Nurmagomedov, and it was just like, all you need is, brother, all you need is discipline. Discipline is everything. You want this, you do discipline, you get it. And then I was just like, wow, that was amazing. And it's what I needed to hear at that point. And it's not to say the world and your entire life needs to be suffering the entire time to really get anything out of it, but just a way of saying that you have to work for the things that you want, and the things that you want require some sacrifice and some work. And if they don't, and they're too easy to get, then you're just not going to value it anyway, so it doesn't matter, right? So really take the time, go through the process, and you can feel it for yourself. Journal it. That's kind of what I'm doing here. As I said, it's like 12 days on this new streak, and I feel like my thoughts of my mind that come into my mind, and the way they get transmitted through my communication and my speech, are much more well connected. I feel like there is like a plug, you're connected to a battery, where after like the first 2 or 3 days of needlessly spilling your seed, and of course for me it was just, a night with my wife, I felt pretty exhausted. But then once, you start getting that, for me, it was like day 4 or 5, I started feeling like I was plugged back into it, and then I was back again. And of course, that's come from many, many years of being off of explicit materials and not PMOing, right? Those are for the no fat people, which I was definitely part of those Reddits, and helped me a long time. And one of the things that really did help me as I kind of went along was reading those Reddits, like the NoFap Reddit, the semen retention Reddit. Tell you the truth, like I was really focused on the NoFap Reddits, and then I only saw some people mentioning those semen retention Reddits, and I was like, oh, let me go into this. Is interesting. Let me go look at that. Like, why is it different? How is it different? And what else was going to happen? And so as I read all the different things that people were experiencing, I was like, wow, I could really benefit from that and where I want to go in life. And so maybe I'll give that a try. And as I began to experience those things, those benefits, what are they? Like there's a lot of things that can happen. And I can tell you one, look at my couple of videos, like right after I've spilled my seed, as opposed to now, you can see it in my face. The furrows in my head go away. The bags under my eyes are not as prominent. My face, like I feel like I look younger, maybe, and that can't be a placebo. Like you can actually see it in there most of the time. Whereas like the night after pleasure, I feel like I'm bloated. My eye bags underneath my eyes. I'm not feeling very tired, and I just can't really get it together. My thoughts aren't always there. I feel like there's some brain fog, and that's one of the things that I really enjoy feeling from this practice, and that's the reason why I continue to practice it and come back to it, especially when I'm trying to fight. The boundless energy, the quick recovery, the being able to make micro adjustments when I'm in a time of like duress, when I'm actually fighting, I think is much more, my fight IQ is higher. And so these things far outweigh the sacrifices I need to make to do them. And again, I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect person. I can't say like the temptation is always there all the time. And I have to always remind myself of why I'm doing this and the benefit of moving forward. And the great coach John Danaher would say, you can reinvent yourself every single 5 years, right? And you just got to go through it. And so the way that I want to be now when I'm 51 and 2031 is going to be vastly different than I am right now. And it's just a matter of all the different habits I'm doing and they're stacking. And nothing is linear, right? I think a lot of times it like takes a little bit of, it's like almost like a curve, and sometimes it's an exponential increase. And I've felt that as I begin to stack on all these positive benefits that I do. And it doesn't really take as much willpower as you think every single time, because you see the benefits, you see the things stacking on, and you just don't want to go back to what you were doing before. So, and that's of course my experience. Your experience could be different. I don't know. The only way you can know is to do it yourself. And that's what I tell everybody. Just do it yourself. There are some genuine people. Oh, thank you. I appreciate. I'm gonna check these other guys out, Jason Braun and Bogdan. I'll definitely check those out. I've be honest with you as much as openly as I can be here on a public forum like this, and I do really appreciate everybody joining me on here and asking questions and being a part of this. If you think this is going to help other people, make sure you share with other people. So one of give you some exciting things that I've got going on right now is, Kudo is growing in the United States. It's Japanese MMA. I try to get more people doing it. I'm going to take a little direction into the martial arts, and, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has been great. It's one thing that I've been studying for over 30 years. And I got into it because of Hoist Gracie and watching him fight. And it was all about fighting. And now I really think it's kind of gone in a different direction. It's almost like butt scooting. We forgot how to take people down. It's actually disconnected itself from its fighting roots. And so therefore, it's made me very sad from what I've seen it back in 1995 when I first started training it to what I'm seeing it has become now. And that's really what's driven me to Kudo, that the idea is to go back into its fighting roots, is to be the closest to a fight as possible. And so Japanese MMA, wearing a gi, going bare knuckle, we are wearing these space helmets. You can go full contact and not get lacerated in the face. I'm 46 years old right now. I don't want to get CTE. I don't want to get cut in the face. I don't need black eyes. I don't need all that kind of stuff, but I do like fighting. And I'm not coming out of retirement to fight MMA anymore because there's no point in doing that. But fighting Kudo gives me like such great vigor in life right now. And so I'm trying to share it with the world, and I'm working on a white to black belt curriculum. It's very ambitious. It's like 600 videos. A lot of it is, you know, because it's hard to find a school right now, I want to be able to practice it where you are. So that is a bit of a challenge, and it's going to take me some time to produce this, but you know, I'm going to be producing it beginning next week. The first video, if you don't know, the ranks go like purple, it goes white, purple, blue, um, yellow, green, brown, and then black, right? So it's like 5 different belts before black belt, and it's a different progression. And so therefore, it's very hard to find a school. Now, there's no real curriculum for it because it is the way of the open mind, right? That's kind of the idea. It can be all styles. And so I've taken my experience over the last 30 years of competing, teaching, training in all the different martial arts and trying to compile it in a way that can make people learn it remotely and also be effective at it, right? So I've studied Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, wrestling, boxing, capoeira, Filipino martial arts. I've done it all. And so therefore, like, I'm trying to distill it all into a way and not make it overwhelming and too complicated, because, you know, the sophistication is in the simplicity, so to speak, right? And that's really what I'm looking to do. But that's something, an idea that I had in my mind that I've been developing now for the last couple of months. And I think it's about ready to begin the production phase. And so I'm very excited to be able to bring that out there, but to share Kudo with the world. I've also brought out a line of Kudo gear, right? This is the first shirt that I've made. So we're going to make it available on the online store. Furious Karate, and it says Kudo in the back in Japanese kanji. Don't worry, it doesn't say beef and broccoli or something like that. But we're going to make that available to sale on the online store, so you can check that out as well. So hopefully, you know, and for those of you that want to get into Kudo, I have a free resource in the description below. You can get the Kihon Waza is what we call it, which is the fundamentals of Kudo. And also I've already released the Kudo Core 4, which is a way for you to get involved in Kudo at home. It's like it's basically the areas where MMA, you know, actually occur, like punching into striking, ground and pound into submission. So we really focused on that, just to kind of give people the flavor and what it is of Kudo, and a bunch of different games that you can play with somebody at home to develop Kudo skill. But that's also available in the description below if you want to pick that up, the Kudo Core 4, and be looking forward to producing the white to black belt curriculum. It's going to be very exciting. It's a very ambitious project, but I'm really happy to do that. And I'm happy to share Kudo with the world. And I'm super excited for this South American Kudo fight that I'm about to go do in Brazil. I'll be on here every Wednesday, 10 o'clock, to continue to share my progress and what's going on with that. And I really do appreciate everybody being on this channel and sharing the time with me. And so again, if you think this is going to help somebody, please like, subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, you know, I'm here talking off your ears, and I really appreciate your time here. And I want to respect everyone's time. So thank you very much. If you want to get in contact with me, feel free to message me on any of my socials, and I'll see you all in the next one. Okay.